as you just said, for the past 3.5 years, I've been living a life without waste. And for the past year, I've been able to help others to go down the same path, to create less and less waste. Not just individuals, but also companies and policymakers. So before you knew the title of my presentation, who of you, and please raise your hand, would think that living zero waste is more expensive? If you think that is more expensive than living the way you do now, please raise your hand. Yeah. It's a common misconception that a zero waste life is more expensive. But what if I could convince you that living without waste is actually going to save you a lot of money? Would you be willing to try it out and make less waste as well? Please raise your hands as well if you would be willing to try. Convince you? But let's go out with the challenge. I'll tell you a little bit more about my background. I'm actually not an environmentalist. It says on my card, but I'm not an environmentalist. I'm a psychologist. And what interests me most of all is human behavior. Why we choose the things we do, what makes us tick, and why do we choose certain behavior over other behavior? Why do we choose to still smoke, even though we all know it's not healthy? Why do we still use so much plastic, even though it's bad for our environment? So the choices we make are clearly not based on information, not on knowledge, but it's based on different things. Let's keep this in mind when we continue. This is what my life looks like a little bit. So I buy my coffee from the coffee shop, my dairy from the dairy farmer. I make my own cosmetics. I have a no-no sticker on my door. This way, I saved a lot of waste already. I started going to the market, and that's some fresh produce from my father's garden. And this way, we talked about recycling a little bit earlier. Instead of recycling more, I started recycling less and less because I have nothing to recycle anymore. Then, okay, I was doing a great job. I felt really confident to live this zero waste lifestyle. And then we went to Colombia, to a very remote place. This was supposed to be a very idyllic place. That was the reason why we went there. Just rainforest on the beach, and it was supposed to be the paradise that was described. We found it in this way. And these are not tricked photos, these are not stock photos, these are pictures that we took ourselves. There was nothing to enjoy there. There was just something to cry about, really. Because what we found there was just destruction caused by people. This was not caused by people who were living there, because there was nobody living there. This all came from the ocean. And this made me realize what I was doing in my life was perfecting my own lifestyle, but it was micromanagement. I wasn't influencing the bigger scale. Maybe some people in my surroundings, but not making a difference. So I decided right there and then I need to do something that's bigger than me. I didn't know where to start, but I felt like I had to start somewhere. So, and what was in my advantage was that this was 2018. 2018 was the year of awareness around plastic. There was a lot of talk about it already. We just saw the image of the sea turtle in the fishing net. This is also an image that I think a lot of people have seen before. So there's a lot of awareness that was going on already. But what was missing was action. There was nothing happening. People were still doing the same thing they were always doing. So I didn't know where to start, but I started somewhere. And I started on Facebook. Just started a Facebook page 3 days after we got back. And I started to share the tips that I found useful in my own personal life. And I just started giving them out for free, sending them every single day, sharing news items, sharing events, things that were happening. And so actually I started to find myself in the middle of this psychological experiment. Because what I was doing as I was providing stimuli, messages, to participants, our followers, and then I could see the effects, the results of the messages that I was sending out. This gave me very clear and very instant information about what works. what messages do we want to process when it comes to environment and the changes that we can make in our own personal life? That's where it started to become really interesting. And what I found is that there were 3 elements that made messages really successful, or more or less successful. First thing is emotions. Second thing is psychological factors. And the last one is culture. Okay, so let's start with the first one. So we want to feel good. If we search online, especially when we are considering environmental issues, it's very easy to get distressed or negative or hopeless. And it's very important that we keep our positive state. And actually, we search for positive things online. That's why cat videos are so popular, because they make us feel good. They make us feel happy. So how to use this principle in the messages that we send to when it comes to zero waste? And what we choose to do is send out positive framed messages. Not just people who are smiling, but these are people who prove they can show solutions. And this is what inspires people and also makes them feel positive. We need this positive emotion to make a positive change in our own behavior as well. Okay, second thing was psychology. We are social creatures, and what's important for us is to belong, to be accepted, and to feel normal, to fit in. Then it can be really scary to try out a new behavior. If everyone goes to the supermarket, buys their things in plastic, and you're the one person not accepting this plastic anymore, you're going to feel awkward. Specifically with this kind of things. So if you feel like having sushi, you can have those days. I do too. Then would you be willing and able and feel okay to go to the sushi place and bring your own container? We asked our people if they would be willing to do that, and surprisingly a lot of people said yes, but on one condition, that they feel accepted to bring their own packaging. So that's where it comes into play. How do we get across that it's okay to do these things? And what we do on our Facebook page as well is we applaud these people who step out and do these things. So instead of being the weirdo, we're going to make them the hero. And this is how we frame our messages around these people as well. We put them on the stage and applaud them. Okay. Another thing that comes into play when you talk about psychological factors is empowerment. It's very easy to lose faith, to get disheartened when you see this plastic problem, when you see CO2, climate change problems. It's so big, it's so much bigger than ourselves. And it's very easy to feel like you can't make a difference by yourself. But what we do is we give easy tips. We give things that people can do, simple tricks that you don't need any talent for, maybe you don't even need any money for, but things that anyone can do. And if you take these little steps, then you feel, I can do this. And you take another step, we give you another tip. And you take another step and you feel, oh, I got this, I can do this. This makes these people empowered. The people who are almost losing faith are the people who care, and that's the people who we can make feel empowered. All right, this is where it gets even more interesting, culture. When it comes to zero waste, the zero waste movement in the Netherlands is just really young, really recent. But in Belgium, it's been going on for years, and there's a lot of zero waste shops there as well, and they're very successful, and more are opening. So why is this not the case in the Netherlands? What's the difference? Because we're almost similar in size, we're almost similar in economic status, but there's a difference. And I noticed this as well when I talk to people. The Dutch people that I talk to, they tell me, oh wow, living zero waste, that must cost you a lot of time, or I'm too busy for that, or I don't have money to live zero waste. If I would do that, then it would cost me so much more. Or I'm not responsible for that. Let the supermarket change things, or let the politicians change things. When I talk to Belgian people, they tell me, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. So this is typically the response I get from the Dutch people. And what this tells me about the Dutch culture is that we are willing to do things, but only if they're quick and easy. It takes a little effort or time, or at least not extra effort or time. They don't want to take responsibility if they feel that it's not their fault that these things happened. We're liberal, and this means that as soon as there's something that's forbidden, they'll feel like, oh, it becomes awkward. Like, there's a lot of bans going on now for letting up balloons, and as soon as there is a ban for something, the Dutch people are like, we don't like when something's forbidden. We want to be able to be free. And of course, cheap. Well, that's our national reputation. I'm not going to change that. But we call it economical. This is the response that I get from the Belgian people. Wow, interesting. That's good for environment. Tell me more. How do you do that? So people really reinforce environmentally positive changes, and they really encourage each other with that as well. So that tells me that it's not about economic factors, but it's mostly about cultural factors that come into play. All right, finally, we come to the money-saving part, I promised you. So the money-saving part, you don't need any talent for it. So that's really good. I can promise you that any one of you can do it. And the simple changes that you can start doing today. Okay, first one, break up your relationship with Mr. Albert Heijn or with Jumbo or whatever supermarket. Go to the market instead. Bring your own bags. Not only will you save pretty much half the plastics that you used before, but it's also going to save you a little bit of money. This is not where you save the most money. Oh, this is not where you will save the most money, but you will save the most plastics and a little bit of money. Start making things yourself. Learn to do DIY. These are recipes for making toothpaste and mascara. This is where serious money saving starts to come in. Imagine how much money you're already spending at Kruidvat or wherever. And this is all the money that you can already keep in your pocket. Make the swap. So a lot of disposable items that we have in our home can be easily swapped for products that we can reuse again and again. This is an example of a safety razor, but also think about a water bottle. We don't need plastic water bottles. We got perfect tap water. Just buy one really decent bottle. This may seem like you're spending more money, but you're only spending the money once. And from this time on, you're going to start saving money over time, because you only have to buy it once. A quick fix. Start repairing the things that are broken. The things that were broken in my house were my favorite items. I actually wore them out or used them until they were broken. But, well, I wasn't able to fix them. I'm not a very crafty person. So what happened is, well, usually I would just toss them out and go and buy new stuff. But I learned that the people from the repair cafe, they fix things for free for you. And it was really convenient because then I didn't have to throw them out anymore, but just keep using the same things that I already had. Instant money saver. And the last but not least, this is where I saved thousands of euros. After about 1.5, maybe 2 years, I've saved about 10,000 euros by not doing this. I stopped buying stuff. Because I looked at my stuff in a different way, I started taking care of it. I didn't need that much anymore. I started realizing that what I had was already good enough. I started out with 50 pairs of shoes. I started minimizing as well, so I got rid of a lot of things as well. I gave away some things as well. And not only did it save me a lot of time because I had a lot less to clean, a lot less to organize, but I also didn't have to go shopping anymore. Well, this saved me not only time and energy, but also, of course, a lot of money. Yes, don't think that you're never allowed to shop anymore. I do allow myself a new dress at some times, but I will buy it at the second-hand store. So, what did you guys prove to me? You're pretty Dutch because you're interested in saving money. That's okay. It's in your culture. I can respect that. You're driven by emotions, psychological factors, and cultural factors. And you're perfect candidates for going down the path of living zero waste. This could be your waste soon. Thank you very much.